Okay, we can start with lecture 7. So lecture 7 is the 5th time you'll be doing too. It's a Dhammapada. And then for this diploma one, this level, you, besides understanding how the translation like, every verse, you should know how to apply this Dhammapada using the Buddhist doctrine, because they test you not solely on translation, but more on the doctrine level, how to explain this Dhammapada apply to Buddhist study. Okay. Okay, we need to understand each one by itself, what Dhammapada is about in this particular level. The Dhammapada, Pali is a double MA, Sanskrit is RMA, okay? So the difference is this. So it's one of the most revered and widely studied texts in Buddhism, including the Mahayana. It's a collection of verses attributed to the Buddha, offering concise teaching as on ethics, mindfulness, and wisdom. This you can see solely in these Dhammapada verses. So you only understand how this Dhammapada works. The Dhammapada is part of the Khuddaka Nikaya, or I call the minor collection, in the Pali canon. And it consists of a total of 423 verses and organized into 26 chapters, called Vagas. So it's also considered as a distillation of Buddha's teaching, covering themes such as mindfulness, moral conduct, wisdom, and liberation. So these are very sort of easy to digest kind of teachings that can apply to all levels of society. So the text is highly regarded as a poetic, philosophical depth and making it accessible to both lay people and monastics. So the range is a wide range for application. Sorry, my mouse got power. Next one, we have to know the etymology and meaning. The term Dhammapada combines the word Dhamma, which is Buddha's teaching, or the truth or the phenomena, and Pada is a foot or path or verse. So often translated as a path of Dhamma or verses of truth. So in Sanskrit tradition, it is also known as Uda Vaga, inspired utterances. So key themes and the teaching. The Dhammapada emphasizes practical guidance for living a virtuous life, attaining enlightenment, and some central teaching. So include here in the power of the mind example, verse 1 to 2. It said, mind preceded all mental state. Mind is a chief, and they are all mind what? That means mind is the thing that driven us to do all kinds of good or bad things. So mind is the most important. So this highlights the importance of cultivating a pure mind, as action rooted in purity lead to happiness, while impure action brings suffering. And then you find further down the verses, in verse 5, it talk about non-hatred and compassion. Hatred is never appears by hatred in this world, but by non-hatred alone is hatred appears. So this is an eternal law. That means hatred cannot be conquered by hatred. You can only by compassion and by loving kindness. So this is a foundation teaching or resolve a conflict to compassion. So the world is full of hatred. So only when you have compassion and love for each other, then hatred will cease. Then some of the verse I think you all recover. The one talk about impermanent effort, verse 20. So it says, even if one recite the little of the scripture, but live righteously, forsaking lust, hatred, and delusion, they partake of the blessing of a holy life. It says, emphasize on the practice over mere scholarship. Remember the one brother is very good in the sutta, and then the other is just so kind of poor. We say it's just not good in learning, but he's a keen practitioner. So he only good in sweeping floor. So one fine day, Buddha met him, and it happened that this guy is much better than the other brother who is very good in the study. So these two, depending on how you use it. So you meet the right time, met the Buddha, then you can get liberated. When Buddha see the way to teach you the easy path to liberation. So when we go other verses like path to liberation, verses 277 to 279, all conditioned things are permanent, suffering, non-self. This is also another verses quite common for when we are tested in the YMBA exam. So almost everything they talk about all condition. So a court insight into the 3-mark existence essential for awakening. So this is more of the Tilakana. And then historical version and translation. The Dhammapada exists in multiple versions across the Buddhist tradition. In Pali version is the Theravada, the most well-known version with 26 chapters, 423 verses, translated into many languages. And you can see in Sanskrit too, we call the Udana Vaga. It's practiced by the Mahayana. It's a 33 chapter compilation with some variation in content. So if you come across to this, it's more than Theravada one. So these are all additional things to which the Mahayana always tend to say they have a higher teaching, so they got more things. And then you can also find it in the Chinese translation, Fa Ji Jing. There's 39 chapter, 759 verse by this Ji Qian, 3rd century CE. And also by Fa Ji Yao Song Jing. Also 33 chapter. This is compiled in the 10th century. So if you next time happen to come across all these Dhammapada, different version, don't be alarmed because we practice Theravada, we have only a fix of less than compared to the Mahayana. So there, beside the Dhammapada which has been compiled, there are many of things which are not well understand. So you can see commentaries and story added in to make it more for the verse to be able to digest by mass of people. So the Dhammapada Atthakanta commentary provides a background story for each verse, explaining the circumstances under which the Buddha spoke them. So this, if you go for further study in degree level, you will come to this. You have this commentary talking about this Dhammapada thing, how this thing is compiled and how is it make it into more of a mass understanding for many people. For example, verse 1 is linked to a story about a monk who overcame distraction through mindfulness. Okay? Then you have verse 5 relate to a few resolved to the Buddha's teaching of non-retaliation. And also Dhammapada also can use for practical application. The Dhammapada verse serve as a guide for daily ethical meditation, wisdom cultivation, and is often recited on Buddhist communities for inspiration and moral reflection. That's why we YMBA and whatever course you pursue in Buddhist study, you should have to undergo to this Dhammapada verses because you can't escape. These are so-called the core teaching of Buddhism. So in conclusion, the Dhammapada remains a timeless spiritual classic offering profound insight into human nature and the path to liberation. So its teaching continue to inspire practitioners worldwide, bridging ancient wisdom and modern life. So it's a very, if you are, next time you are doing any of those children classes, Dhammapada is one of them. Very useful for you to conduct classes. So in the introduction to get this student to embark on Buddhism. So these are Pastor Jakarta story. These are things which previously I was teaching for the younger school children. You have to use this. You cannot use a core teaching. You use this as a tool to guide them, to inspire them to learn Buddhism. Okay, we go further. What are the content of the verses? The opening verses are striking as an exposition of a feature of the law of karma and a characteristic of the human mind. This is basically talking about these kind of verses which you can find in these various Dhammapada verses. A whole chapter is devoted to amplify the quality of healfulness. You see under the Dhammapada category, there's a range of verses for this healfulness and a virtue repeatedly extolled by the Buddha in many sutta. And this, what you see here, let's say healfulness, also can be repeatedly found in these various sutta. If you are keen in sutta study, then you'll find there's similar thing related to healfulness. Okay, and the other one chapter is on the mind, the Chitta Vaga. It's a detailed study of nature and function of human mind from the standpoint of sutta. This also can be found in sutta and also in Dhammapada verse. So when you do a Buddhist study, you will find that these things are very familiar to each other. So what are contents of verses? The other important doctrinal subject within the Dhammapadas are the following. You can also see the quality of Arahant, especially when you go to the section of Arahat Vaga. It talk all about Arahant. Then the impermanent and decay of human body in this Jara Vaga, this section under Jara Vaga, it talk about decay. And the noble path to deliverance, to liberation, you can find in Magat Vaga, the section. And danger of craving as a cause of suffering, the Tanha Vaga. And how about talking about holy being? You can find those are Brahma. You can use Brahmana Vaga. And then on the category of concept of self, Atta Vaga. And the idea of recluse, about monks in the Bhikkhu Vaga. And the qualities of the Buddha, Buddha Vaga. And the qualities of wise person, Padinta Vaga. So all these sections, you can find all the various breakdown of various teaching and various category. Okay, next one. What's the teaching of the Dhammapada? The overall concern remains the didactic. This Dhammapada is to teach and extort on the subject of ethical significance. Very important, you can find in Buddhist study, is about ethics, talking about ethics, how to have a moral conduct. And the importance of morality as a virtue highlight in a great detail. Also the bane of what I call the misery of addiction to evil, how you always associate evil, your habitual habit. And the benefits of virtuous conduct, living according to the tenets of Dhamma, or what I call the doctrine of the Dhamma, correct observance of precept, upholding the sanctity, or what I call holiness of life, avoidance of hatred, detachment from lust, evil, subversion to passion, the fragilities that make a fool, are some of the themes that are dealt in the ethical exhortation. So what Buddha preached is all about all this, what to do good, and the bad thing that will haunt you if you commit any evil act. So the universal truth such as the value of health, strength of unity, evil of rivalry occur as theme as some of the verses. So the chapter in the Holy Man, the Brahmana Vaga, present Buddha's interpretation of the concept of Brahmin as one of the possessing noble, sublime qualities and not one who derives such identity by accident of birth. So in this particular Brahmana Vaga, Buddha criticized the Brahmin those Brahmin who are practicing in good conduct, Buddha respect them because they are the virtuous person. But not those Brahmin who claim that they are born from such a family line that they are deserved to be great people. So this is why you can see there why Buddha put all these people who claim birth as the noble was put down by Buddha. The verses are self-contained statements on a diversity of topic, defeating a generic description. So you can see all kind of fantastic things in Dhammapada. So it's good if you are able to be teaching children, please use this Dhammapada as a teaching stuff. According to scholars, they address the threefold objectives of these Buddha teachings. One is for human welfare here and now. And then second, it talk about favorable rebirth in the next life. So Dhammapada, in a way, it talk about your present existence. So if you really practice good conduct and doing good, then your next life, your next rebirth will be a good one. And attainment or ultimate good, how you can achieve your kind of objective. Good things, or the best is we can attain Nibbana in the shortest time. So all these are all found in Dhammapada. From the standpoint of literary assessment, Dhammapada is the analogy of elegant poetry embodying a profusion of symbolic, imaginary, and making free use of a simile as a pedagogical or called a teaching device. So when we study all these Dhammapada, they always come up with a story. The storyline is to teach and explain as clear as possible what is the meaning of this particular verse. Because if you talk the verse, it's very hard for you to really understand. With a storyline, it's easy for you to digest and remember the verse. So all the verses are utterance of Buddha made on different occasions in accord with the subject and in issue and the temperament of the listener. So important is Buddha, when he developed this particular subject, is regarding to who the one is receiving the message. The audience of the interlocutor, or what is the utterance applied to a specific question. Okay, it may not be just one person, it can be mass of people. The background episode of every verse is narrated in a commentary to Dhammapada, what I call the Dhammapada Takara. This commentary is compiled by this Venerable Buddha Gosa, who was an Indian monk who went to Sri Lanka to seek back all the Pali, because in Sri Lanka it's all in Sanskrit, and not in Sanskrit, in Sinhalese. So this particular monk compiled back to the old Pali form. So because during that period, the Theravada teaching, they are slowly disappearing from India. And there's very bad, all are left are the Mahayana. So this particular monk went to Sri Lanka to get back all this teaching. Okay, so because of him, we have many commentaries done by him. So the Sri Lanka, especially when you study the Buddhist study, this particular venerable, you need to know more about him and then what is outstanding job he has done. Okay, now we come back to what we need to know about all the verses. Okay, in Diploma, besides understanding this particular verse and the translation, the gist of it, you must use it as a doctrine to explain clearly for the particular question asked. Okay, so you need to have a clear understanding. Dhammapada verse 75 is another profound verse from Dhammapada. It builds a critical distinction for any serious spiritual practitioner. The Pali said, Anahi labu panisa, ana dibana gamini evam etam aminaya biku. Buddhasa savako sakaram nabi na deya vivikam anu bruhave. Okay, so I have a pointer here. If you click here, you will go to the particular website, and then you can see more clear explanation of this. Actually, I point to Taiwan on. The Taiwan, yeah, I used to give it to you previously. But this morning I try, all get stuck down there. They no more displaying the verse. So I have to use this website, the TP Taka, for you to go and read for further understanding. So literally, this whole translation, what I said, for one thing, is a pursuit of gain. While another is a path leading to Dhamana. I mean, if you want a person who is pursuing just for monetary gain, another one is seeking for the path leading to Nibbana, end of suffering. Also, understanding this fully, a bhikkhu who is a disciple of the Buddha should not delight in honors, but should cultivate seclusion. I mean, if this bhikkhu understand this profound teaching well, you not, I mean, maybe a kind of monk that will seek for kind of what people praise about him or honor or whatever, but should be a kind of living in kind of solitude to cultivate his practice. Okay, so basically like this. So we're going to study each of these. I wouldn't say each of these words. Target those particular words, and then for you to remember how to translate it into a proper English sentence. Okay. You no need to follow exactly like this, word by word, but an understandable modern English will be accepted by the examiner. So what is it? Word by word meaning, anahi, what is called for or indeed, one path. Okay, so ana, remember this first word, ana is this, for or indeed. And then laba upanisa, having gained its foundation. Okay, this is gaining foundation, pursuit of gain, to gain something. And then ana is another, Nibbana gami, leading to Nibbana. I mean, here. So if you can remember first two words, ana, indeed is for, this one is to gain, and then the other one is to gain Nibbana or liberation. Then you can understand this verse 75. You can quickly go over one thing, pursuit of gain, and then another for the path leading to Nibbana. Say away, you can put into one sentence. Okay? And then Ivan etam, knowing this task. Next sentence. Okay? Ivan etam. Abhinaya, having fully gone, having fully understood thoroughly. Okay? Word by word. This one you understand, fully understand. Fully understand bhikkhu. Then Buddha Dasa, Savako, disciple of the Buddha. Okay? Is a disciple of the Buddha. Okay? You just remember this sole word, then you can write it in proper English. No need to follow word by word exactly like here. Then sakara means honor or respect or veneration. And na abi na de yaya. I mean, should not be delight. Na means no, should not be delight. So you come to here. should not be delight, okay? Should not be delight. And then very calm, seclusion, when living in solitude. And then Abu Hei should cultivate towards Nibbana. So basically, is the sentence like this one, you remember this one, this one, this one, and then if you can remember follow, you can come out. For one thing, when you pursue gain, what another is a path leading to. I mean, you are learning something to gain towards the path of Nibbana. And then when you understand it fully, a bhikkhu who is a disciple of Buddha should not delight in honor. I mean, your achievement, I mean, those people who praise you anything, but should cultivate by himself towards the path of Nibbana. Basically, right along this sentence line, you should be safe. The examiner cannot fail you one. So not necessarily remember word by word for this, but you write in understood those kind of proper English. The examiner will not punish you. Okay, so important thing in this particular diploma one, you need to explain the doctrine behind it. Okay, so this verse presents a stark and crucial dichotomy between the two fundamental different paths. The first line here stated quite the anatta labuna nisa ana nibbana. This is a core teaching of the verse. It draws a clear, uncrossable line between this one is a line focused on and dependent upon worldly gains. I mean, like when we are not this monk, our life is a pursuit worldly gains, honors. This include material possession, fame, status, task, praise, and the esteem of others. This path is rooted in craving, attachment, which are very few of suffering. So that means the monk, when they don't pursue on this particular path as this worldly life. Good example is this two, the Shaolin abbot. Morning, he practice as a monk. Nighttime, he's a king. Okay, this is monks should not practice this way. So similar, if you're on the monkhood life, you should get rid of this. Okay, so you must good target towards the Nibbana Gami, the path that leads to extinction of suffering. Nibbana, the path of noble eightfold path, requires the relinquish of craving attachment. It's a fundamental incompatible with the pursuit of worldly gain and honor. Okay, so this line I explain you very clearly. The pursuit for end of suffering to get released and as close as possible to Nibbana. And then the word Upanishad is profound. It means that the foundation cause or the underlying ground. The Buddha saying is that a life based on seeking gain is built on one foundation, while the path to liberation is built on entire different one. So you cannot build a house on two separate foundations. I mean, you have to choose one. Either become worldly life, or if you want the fast path, be a monk. So the second and third line said the appropriate response. Understanding this fully. Evam itam abhinaya. This is not an intellectual understanding, but a deep penetration insight into the dangerous and the binding nature of worldly pursuit and the liberating nature of the path. It's the realization that these two paths are mutually exclusive. So this word is to let you choose which one you want. You want to be a worldly life that lead to joyful enjoy your senses, or you want to get liberated as soon as possible. So basically talking about this. Evam etam abhinaya. Then is further elaborate. Should not delight in honors, but should cultivate seclusion. I mean, live life in solitude. not delighting in honors. This is a natural result of understanding above. So disciples see honor, praise, fame not as reward, but as a potential trap. Okay, so all these layman terms, they are trap for you. Once you stuck down there, you can't get out. So these are called sweetness of the bar, pleasant but dangerous, as they can stir up pride, attachment, fear, or loss, all of which pull one away from the path. So basically, if you stuck into this particular hole for praise one, then you will never able to get out. So the other one is to cultivate seclusion. Veviham amu hae. This is a positive action. Veviva means seclusion. Has 3 levels. Physical seclusion, withdrawing from crowded, distracting environment. I mean, live life as less possible in the out of the city, especially in the remote areas. And the other one is to practice mental seclusion, chitta viveva, withdrawing the mind from distracting sense and thoughts. So if basically to say, if you are distracted from the physical one, basically your mental one will be a good one. So you will have less distraction. Then seclusion from the substrainer. The ultimate seclusion is freedom from all defilement with Nibbana. And the most important among all these three is the final one, is towards Nibbana. The disciple actively foster this seclusion to meditation, mindful living, and letting go attachment. This is a direct path to liberation. Okay? This basically explain the whole concept of verse 75. So in simple terms, the Buddha is making a critical choice clear. You can either chase worldly success, money, fame, respect, or you can walk the path of ultimate freedom from peace. But you cannot do both. So, like this Shaolin Airport, they're doing both things. So they are completely different roads heading in opposite direction. So a wise student of Buddha, seeing these two, will stop seeking approval and applause. Instead, they value solitude, simplicity, knowing that this is a quiet, unattached mind that true peace is found. Okay, this basically explains verse 75. Verse 89. It's another powerful and profound verse, again from Dhammapada. It describes the highest achievement, the state of Arahant, the fully liberated one. Okay, there's somebody, is belong to the Buddha state. Yane Gesu, Sama Chitam, Subhavitam, Anapanisage, Anupadava, Ye Rata Kinasava, Junimato Te Loke, Pari Nibuta. Okay, we translate in English is in whom the mind is rightly well developed mind, and with the factors of enlightenment, who delight in the language of clinking without grasping. And they, the crankers free ones, are radiant, are fully extinguished in this world. Okay? Basically, it's tell you that if your mind is targeted towards the enlightenment, and you have all the factor enlightenment there, you'll be happily letting go all the clinking, and then you won't cling to them. You are a free person. Then you are a radiant and fully extinguished in this world. So next one, we're going to look through the Pali verses of 89. So if you want to read, you click here. You go to Tipitaka, you explain you further on this. Word by word meaning, Yesam means in whom. Yesam, This one, I think. Yes, somebody yan gesu. So somebody referring to a Buddha one. So it's a factor enlightenment. What I call samadhi means perfect enlightenment. And Yesu means limbs of factor. So these are factors of enlightenment. The whole word. Sambo ni yan Yesu. And then sama citam subha vitam. Okay, so you see sama citam and then subha vitam. Citta, you know, is the talking about consciousness one. So the mind is rightly well developed. This is called sama, rightly. Citta means mind. Okay, so right mind. Sama means right-minded. Subha vitam, well developed or well cultivated. So right mind that is well cultivated. Then anapane sage. Here it means giving up clinking. Adana means grasping on clinking. Okay, adana. So remember this word adana, grasping. And then pani sage means relinquish or giving up or release from. So basically, you understand this first verse. Basically, you understand the whole thing. In whom the mind roughly right will develop in the factors of enlightenment. And then you are delighted to relinquish a clinking without grasping. Okay? So basically, this word is I translate to here. So remember all these keywords will be very easy for you. Then anupadaya means without clinking, non attachment. Then yerata. When you say yerata means who delight. Okay? Kane sava. This one, sava, I think you heard before. It refers to cankers, destroy. The canker free one. So kani sava means canker destroy or canker free. I mean, you are typically free from sensuality, not becoming or ignorant and all the wrong views. And Juti Manto, radiant, shining or brilliant. Te means day, locate in the world. So Pari Bhuta are fully extinguished. So Pari, remember, Pari Nibbana, the Pari means extinguished, are fully extinguished, having attained final Nibbana. Okay, so when you come across here, the second part here, okay, it's mean you extinguish and going towards Nibbana. Okay, like you are canker free, you are radiant, you are fully extinguished in this world. Okay, so if you can't really, you need to establish yourself, understanding all these keywords, then it's easy for you. Because remember, this this one, the choosing of how many questions out from, I think it's 8 for diploma and left is 8. So if you this one don't want that one, then let's say if got one good Dhammapada and you don't learn, you waste it. So basically, try to learn a few of them. If you happen to able understand it, then it's good for you. So here, explain what is verse 89. The explanation commentary. This verse is a portrait of the perfect individual. I mean, you're talking about an Arahant. It describes their inner qualities, the resultant state of ultimate peace. The first line said, in whom the mind is right, well developed in the factor enlightenment. Okay, the first line they said mention this. So here he explained very clearly what are the 7 factor enlightenment. The Satta Bojjhanga, which are the mental quality developed for those who are awakening. This is a recall of what you have learned earlier. You have mindfulness, your investigation of phenomena, your energy, your rapture, your tranquility, you have concentration, your equanimity. So Arahana has not just practiced this factor, but has brought them to perfect. He has perfect all these 7 of them. And they are balanced and of right-minded. Okay, then it won't be affected by all the other things. Second line said, he who delight in the religions of clinking, letting go, without grasping, without regretting. So this anatta panisage anupadaya nerata. Here it describes the fundamental attitude of Arahant toward existence. In Arahant, he already given up most of the things. So ordinary people delight in acquiring and holding up. So Arahant has the opposite tendency. So they find joy and freedom in letting go. So that's the difference between Arahant and a lay people. Okay, Arahant is one who already given up everything. He has no interest in coming. That's why, remember the Mahayana we studied last session, they claim that Arahant is not a kind of being who has fully let go. So they don't understand what is Arahant. Arahant is the one who is totally different. But to them, if you compare this, not to insult them, if you want to be Bodhisattva, your time to liberate, and you still concerned with liberated the rest of people, and you stay back, isn't this a hindrance or this attachment to you, right? So we don't argue with them. So these people, up to them, they choose that path, up to them. So if you're Arahant, you have to go, you have to go. You can't wait for other people to come on board for you. Can't wait for them. You have to go yourself. Another one is this anatta panisage, the act of relinquishing, giving up, releasing the fear that feeds suffering. So if you are of this Arahant standard, you almost everything was gone. So there's no tendency of you leaving any fear behind to carry on the suffering. So that's why when we don't argue with these Mahayana people, this one is to describe there's no more fuel for you to burn. So how can you claim that Arahant has so much attachment? Very hard for them arguing against them. So and the other one is anupadaya. This is a key. It means without any remaining clinging. Anupadaya. You have no more fuel left, or not grasping ever again. So and their delight to let go as total and complete, and there's no stubborn underlying attachment left. So this describes how an Arahant, how his characteristic, and how he is able to manage to not like a layman kind of lineage that will still cling on. He has totally given up everything. And then the third line said, the resultant state. They are crankle free, once radiant. Kanisava junitamanto. Kanisava means the asava, the cankers, whatever, stains, all the bad things are the deepest root of defilement that flow into the mind and perpetuate into the cycle of suffering. So when Arahant has destroyed all these stains, or what I call cankers, how can you say he is not a noble person? Then Zutimato, radiant, shining, is not a physical light, but the radiant of mind. It's a kind of mind that is so delighted, so free from everything, that is utterly pure, free from what I call greed and hatred, delusion. So it's a brilliance of the wisdom and peace. And then next one, Te Loka Panibutta, are fully extinguished in this world. Panibutta, remember Paninibbana, the word. So this is a past participle of Parinibbayati, meaning attain Parinibbana. The final Nibbana, and signified the fire of defilement have been completely extinguished. They have achieved the ultimate peace and free from any future becoming. And loke, you also know, in the world, this is crucial. Their full extinguishment is not a place they go. After death is a state of being right here and it's very world that they live completely cool, at peace, and free from all suffering. When the Arahant state, you leave this world to get to your last moment of life, and what you are doing is to live to this life without any regret, and you just have to complete the existence. So that's what this particular verse 89 talks about. So in summary, this verse describes the ultimate goal of Buddhist path. It pays that those who have fully developed their mind to the factor of enlightenment find true joy, not getting things, but in letting go of all clinging. They have destroyed the deepest root of suffering and live in this world as radiant, peaceful beings, and have attained the final unshakable liberation. They are the living example of end of suffering. So basically, this, you can remember, this also can replace the whole translation because everything is inside here. Okay. Next one. Verse 1 to 3. Vanijo iva bayang magam apasato mahadano. Vesam jevitu kamo va papani pari va vajae. So English translation state. Remember Vanito? This word very common. It means a merchant. I am a merchant with few companions and great wealth. Avoid dangerous road. Like one who loves life avoids poison, so should one avoid evil deeds. So basically, this translate in English means it's like a merchant with few companions and great wealth. Avoid the danger zone. That means walking to a dangerous road, and like one who love life, avoid poison, so should avoid all evil deeds. So look at this word, which will help you to able to translate it well. Apasato, yeah, is a minor caravan of traders. Or it can also translate as accompanied by a small retinue of caravan. So Vanijo or Vanija means a merchant. Then Bayam Magam Miva, this one. So Bayam Maga, Bayam means whiskey. Maga is puff, so it's whiskey puff. Then GV2 Kamo, this one, second verse. Winning fond of life. Visam Eva. Yeah. Like a person who is being fond of life. They're talking about normal lay people. Then Papa. Remember Papa means evil. Papa Ni. Papa Ni means evil X. Pari Va Jae. Shun totally. This one shun totally. So if you shun all the those evil things, then you have to be protected. So the context of this story is that the verse was spoken to a Buddha in response to the incident involving a wealthy merchant named Mahadana from Savatthi. The story unfolds as follows. Robert's threat, Mahadana planned a journey with valuable goods, but learned that robbers are lying in wait for ambush his caravan. So this is a wise merchant. He predicted that this Robert will come and ambush him because of his valuable goods. So what is his prudent avoidance? He wisely halted his journey and avoided the dangerous path and returned home. I mean, he never crossed the path. So he U-turned back and he prevented this tragedy from happening. So the Buddha lesson is that Buddha uses this analogy to teach that just as the merchant avoided physical danger, a wise person should avoid evil action which brings spiritual harm. Okay? So this is verse 1, 2, 3. So what's the key teaching in verse 1 to 3? Avoidance of evil. Evil deeds, even seemingly minor ones, accumulate and lead to suffering. The verse emphasizes the proactive avoidance likening to studying a clear of poison or dangerous path. Wisdom in conduct. The merchant's caution mirrors the need for mindfulness in moral choices. The Buddha extended this to the three-level existence: sensual, material, and immaterial realms, all fought and with karmic dangers and then karmic consequences. The smell of poison underscore the evil acts inevitable harm the doer, just as poison harms an unprotected body. So basically, they overall talking about the merchant's dilemma. A wealthy trader with few guards represent the vulnerable in avoiding of danger, parallels the need to guard against the moral laxity. So that's why he's a wise merchant, because he predicted that this thing will turn true. So he take action. Poison metaphor: just as poison kills without remedy, evil deeds destroy spiritual progress. Only those without wounds, pure mind, are unharmed. So that means talking about how this merchant take action of his own to prevent harm to himself. We stop here for 5-10 minutes, then resume again. Okay.